GSL.
Special thanks to our sponsors here in the GSL Code A. We're going to be going into game number 4 now, which has frankly been a delightful PvZ.
Yeah, I've been enjoying this a lot, Tasteless, and going into Iron Fortress here 2.0, it's going to be another one of these big maps, and I think this is going to give Deer maybe the chance to take another game and maybe bring it to game 5 here. RagnaroK, he's just missing the little stuff. He's doing these little things just not so well. Like the harass out of Deer could have been easily shut down, but he just wasn't paying attention. His multitasking seems a little bit behind. And I feel like as long as he's on top of that for this game number 4 and 5, he should be able to take this one out. But Deer, I mean, like you said before, he's got the skills that he once had.
Yeah, he's got the finesse in a late game PvZ. RagnaroK, he's an interesting player though. You can see strategically he knows how to start out with that lead. The question is, can he keep it?
Down here in the bottom right, in the red, our Protoss player. He is
Samsung Galaxy Con Deer.
And up here in the top right, in the blue,
CJN2's RagnaroK.
It's an interesting feeling. I'm speaking from way back at Brood War when I play in tournaments, but when you would get a 2-0 lead in a best of 5, and then you start to lose that, because it feels so good when you're 2-0. You're like, oh, this is great. I'm up 2 games. I have 3 more games, where I have the chance to prove myself. But when you lose that first one, you start to feel that the momentum go away. The worst feeling is when that evens out. The 2-2.
Yeah.
That is, excuse me. That is by far one of the scariest feelings, right? Because you're thinking, oh, what the hell am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And then to lose that there, for them to get those 3 games in a row, and you think, shit, if this was a best of 3, I would have won.
Yeah.
It's
pretty crazy. I mean, I can just imagine that feel. Like I was never like a pro gamer that had these best of 5s and StarCraft and anything, but just imagine the feeling of it slipping away from your grasp. Like you have it in your hands to win, then it just slowly is taken away from you. It's grabbed away from you, and you don't know what you're doing wrong.
It's very scary as you feel the player adapting. And I mean, I've never played in a booth, in a televised match. Mine was like Tasteless drove 10 hours to an irrelevant city in Texas to face off against a bunch of jobbers and 2 good guys, because that was what USA Brood War tournaments were like back then. But it is still, regardless, a very scary feeling. And it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this pans out, because with Deer being a guy who's won GSL Code S's, whenever you have somebody who's won that, or I would say a player who's gotten to the top 4, that always tells you that they are very solid in a big series. And remember, guys, a big drawn-out series like a best of 5, that's a totally different beast than scamming a win out of one guy with a wonky strat and catching him off his guard.
Yeah, it's like that recent game with Deer and Flash in Pro League, where Flash just went for a big boys push off of, I think it was 3 bases on Vonnie Research Station, and Deer just wasn't in the right position for a second. He just barely messed up his army control.
There's a dead man.
Whoa!
There's a dead man on those rocks. I never noticed that.
Is that allowed?
He might still be alive. He's a Terran player, man.
There's not even a Terran on the map.
That's why there's not many Terran players here today. That's one of the dead Terrans there on those rocks.
He was assassinated.
Maybe his spaceship crashed and he just landed there and he was
forgotten.
He ran out of water. This map does seem pretty dry.
The blood is still fresh, though, from what it looked like.
Whoa. Slow down there, CSI. I don't know if you can prove that, Valdez. You're like, the blood looks dry to me from the observer cam. Hold on, let me get my UV light out. Yes, there's also semen on the rocks. No, you don't know that either, man.
I don't know, man. Is that?
No, there's another dead man on the rocks over there.
Look at that blood. It's
there's
wet.
Another.
You can't tell me that blood isn't wet.
Yeah. How the hell did he get up there?
That's a question.
That's the real story here.
Aliens.
Aliens, perhaps. What? And he might have been friends with the dead guy in the middle or part of the map.
Their bodies just spread out all over the Iron
This
Fortress.
might have been some kind of freaky ritual that happens on the map Iron Fortress where they had to sacrifice humans.
Oh, man. Speaking of rituals,
Maybe even virgins, we don't know.
I watched the first 2 episodes of True Detective last night.
Oh, that's great.
Sick series.
That's a great
I'm already
series.
enjoying it so much.
Sick series. No,
what's going on here?
Oh, we got some sneaky stuff here.
And this I like. I feel like the coach may have went in there and spoken to Deer, and he's like, look, RagnaroK is playing super greedy here. And as long as you can push away his scouts and just go for a big timing, like, you can just kill this guy.
Yeah, this is really smart here from Deer. But I think it is also important to highlight, well, whoa, this might actually work because the pylon's not spotted down there. There is not a proper plan B from here. There's no tech here at all.
Oh, my God.
He has to win this in the next little bit here. And there's a lot of Lings making, which tells me RagnaroK may be very well prepared for this.
He knows it's on the way, but I think it may just be too late. Ling's speed is very far behind here. He's already up to 50 drones, and I think that's just too much. He's like trying to make a spine crawler. And there are 7 gates already made here for Deer. He has so much production on this.
Well,
I
keep
think
in
the
mind,
hatchery's definitely coming down.
It might, but the Ling speed's about to get done. He can't kill the hatchery immediately. He got the drones out, too. He'll probably need to use the drones here in this attack as well to make a sandwich. He's got to wait for so many more of these roaches to hatch out here.
Oh, man. Even picking off a roach now. A lot of the Lings going down. He's not even focusing down the hatchery yet. He's just getting it low. And look at that time warp on all of the Lings. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. He's actually going to do this.
Yeah.
He got enough of the drones. I got to say, he's getting pretty gutsy. I think he actually has one stalker back there attacking. Excuse me. I thought he wasn't going for the hatch at all.
This is just a great read out of Deer. I love it. And RagnaroK was just not prepared. His greed is going to bite him. He's going to get a decent surround here, but look at all those zealots protecting the stalkers in the middle. Perfect unit placement here.
Yeah, he's going to win this. That's it.
Yep, that's it.
He tore up all the Lings. That is going to be GG. Nicely done. Notice he didn't even kill the hatchery back there.
Yeah. He didn't even need to.
It's one of the rare moments where you can just go right for the army because you have the momentum.
Yeah.
And we're in that part that I was talking about. It's now 2-2. And Deer looks to be in very good shape.
Yeah, I'm really liking this position now, actually. I was really on the RagnaroK side of things for a while after those 2 first games, but now we're going into merry-go-round. I feel like RagnaroK is just not prepared for this. He's getting, that feeling that you were talking about. He's down 2 games in a row now after winning the first 2, and he's like, uh-oh, what do I do? The one good thing for RagnaroK that he does have going is that merry-go-round is the map, and it is not the best Protoss map here, so let's see. This is going to be an interesting Game 5 between these 2.
The problem, though, is that Deer knows all the parts that you're saying about that, and I think Deer can probably engineer some kind of a strategy to make this work on this map because each game is looking much more in Deer's favor here. Obviously, that was a very tricky time and attack. If Deer did that every game, he'd never win, but because RagnaroK just didn't expect it, he was always looking into the far future. He didn't see the end of the game right in front of him, and Deer seized that moment, punished him. I don't think Deer will use that same strategy again. I don't think that's a strategy you could really use more than once in a best of 5. I guess you can do anything in a best of 5 if you really know your opponent's mindset, but I doubt Deer will use that here now.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it. I mean, RagnaroK should be prepared for it here, especially on merry-go-rounds. Like, that has to be a big possibility in RagnaroK's mind, something he has to be ready for. So that's what I said before. Like, this could go either way for either of these opponents, for either of these players, rather.
We're now going into the final game here. This will decide which of these 2 moves on to the GSL Code S.
And down here in the south, in the red, are Protoss player.
Samsung Galaxy Con Deer.
All right, we know what kind of fabric that jersey's made out of now.
Yep.
Also, we see that GSL Code S pin. He's won one GSL Code S already.
CJN2's RagnaroK.
Our Zerg player. Recently of CJ Antis. seems to be helping him out a bit. He was able to qualify here for Code A. But what a big opponent to face. You know, like we were saying before, Deer here.
I mean, there's a lot of promise that comes with knocking Deer out of Code A while you go into Code S. You've already beaten a GSL champion. That's already saying something.
Yeah. Although nowadays, I would argue Deer isn't quite at the same level as he was when he won GSL, but he's still got it in him, like you were saying. I mean, he's still got the ability. And like you were saying, I think he's best here in these best-of-5 series. Like, some of the games we've been seeing out of him in Pro League have just been a little bit gross. Like, and maybe he just wasn't prepared for the best-of-1. Maybe he was, like, very much preparing for this matchup against specifically RagnaroK in this Zerg player. Maybe that's why he's not doing so well in Pro League. Maybe he's not focusing that much there. Samsung had, like, one of the worst performances we've ever seen as a team.
Yeah.
Just recently in Pro League. And
yeah, I've seen that. It's a bit weird, especially when you look at the history of Samsung, going all the way back into Brood War.
Yeah,
they've historically been one of the best training houses that there is. But who knows? Maybe the players are more focused on individual leagues. This is definitely the time of the year where you want to focus on that as much as possible. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this is the time when everybody is basically in an individual league, or was just in one because they were eliminated. So a lot more of the focus goes there. And when you knock all those players out, that's where the practice then goes to, for the rest of the team especially, more of the team-based leagues. And I want to point out, too, I think it's very important people appreciate that you have to have a team-based league and an individual league in order to have proper StarCraft II professional gaming environment. For any one-on-one game where there's team houses, you have to have that.
Yeah. I mean, just to cover all bases, to get all, like, different forms. Would be interesting if we also had like 2v2 or maybe Archon mode in the future with Legacy of the Void, but we'll just have to wait and
that would
see.
be cool. I wonder if they'd ever put that in
Archon
the Pro
tournaments.
League. Or just even like, you know, in the older Pro League, they would have a 1 2-on-2 or sometimes 2 2-on-2s. Because Brood War 2-on-2 is much better than StarCraft II 2-on-2 was.
That would be so interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Like an ace match Archon mode or something.
Yeah.
You get two of your best players in there.
Imagine the fanboys on TL going nuts over that.
That would be awesome, man, actually. The build we had out of RagnaroK, it looks like it was a 14-14 with the gas. That's why we see this like super early speed, but Deer did get the scout on, luckily, very early on. It looks like he was going for Gate Nexus Core, but once he saw the build from RagnaroK, he just went back and put down a Cybernetics Core just to be safe.
I'm sorry, I just can't stop thinking of the Flash fanboys talking about Flash in Archon mode. Like, but Flash is already so good, he's like 5 players at once, LOL XD. Like,
you get Flash and like Zest in there. They play Zerg together. Or maybe even like Flash and Life or something.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. And then we you know what you could do is you could get 2 really good players from each race. So like just get Innovation and Flash, and then like Zest and Parting, and in a TVP. And then you'd have people that don't know what they're talking about on forums be like, well, now we're going to decide which race really is the best. Like, no, guys, this isn't how it works, really.
Be like that actually doesn't make any sense.
The only way we can really conclude if this game's balanced is if we have 8 players each playing one race at the same time.
Look at that, man. He gets a scout on the Robo.
Yeah, nicely done.
And that's a big tell. Especially on the map like this for Protoss, where that third base is so hard to take. Like, definitely points towards Immortal All-In, and I think RagnaroK's gonna have to scout once again here to see the army come, see exactly what's coming his way. But it looks like it's actually going to be a War Prism. And
you know, because this is scouted, this is one of those. It sounds weird, but stay with me, guys. It's one of these weird things you can do where because it's expected and you did it anyways, it becomes unexpected. He scouted the Robo. So this is sort of the worst build you can do, is to go for a Warp Prism, because if this was a simple ladder game and you didn't know who your opponent was, but you know he's decent, you know, Warp Prism's not going to be good because he'll prepare for that. But he might scout this and say, well, he won't go for Warp Prism now. He won't do the Sentry drop now. So he just flies in there anyways.
Yeah.
And this is where...
Oh, but RagnaroK sees it.
Oh, my God, he sees it.
And he should notice that. I mean, he's already sending his lings back, and
yeah.
He should be totally fine against this. He needs some more lings, though, because with 3 sentries, could definitely do some damage there. It looks like with the low amount of gateways, though, he's not really trying to do like a big warp in and like, shut down the lair or something. So looks like maybe just a small harass force here with some sentries while he techs up to Colossi.
He's going to come up here now. Now he's doing this and dropping here because he's already been spotted. So this is a good spot to get a queen snipe. Ooh. And he'll warp in. Nope. Won't do it now.
Oh! He didn't target it! He didn't target it! The queen lives.
The queen lives. Long live the queen.
Wow. Survives with 9 health. Oh, man.
Damn. Well, this is not the best scout.
Yeah, I don't think he saw the bay.
I guess he was going robo.
Yeah, he didn't see the bay.
Oh, well, but you know what? The bay can be expected. I mean, it would be nice to know, but it's not like this is out of the question out of the realm of possibilities, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So Deer's going to power on 2 bases, but this is not looking good for Deer. Now, we've seen RagnaroK is pretty good at getting a lead if he's allowed to do so. So we should assume he's going to probably achieve that here, especially with the bungled play there by Deer. Deer coming back, wants revenge there on that queen.
He wants that revenge, but I don't think he's going to get it.
I have unfinished business with you.
Uh-oh. That War Prism. Thankfully, it did get a buff to its speed, I believe, way back when. So not as much of a little flying paper airplane anymore. Another scout coming in here. He should know exactly what's going on this time.
Okay, here he has full confirmation. Yeah. But that was 2 overseers down to get all that intel.
That is true, but I still think it is worth it. I mean...
Yeah, better to know in this case. So he's getting the Spire here. It is Ling Hydra for now, and he's going to have to get some Corruptors out here to deal with the Colossi. Colossus in this case. Colossus singular. That's how you know I cast this game every week, man. Things I think about.
Although he does have 2 Colossi now, so technically Colossi.
Yeah. Although I actually looked this up in the dictionary, you can say Colossuses, but the internet doesn't know that, so I just went with Colossi after we started casting this aloft. So, the attack is moving up here, and this is a pretty formidable attack.
Yeah.
No question.
Especially going against this composition, no Corruptors out just yet. If he can delay some time, 6 will pop out, I think it will be enough. There's like a huge Zerg force right now. But again, a lot of force fields in this mix.
Yeah, and enough area, he could get some favorable force fields off here. Let's see, though. He's got a time warp here, too. The time warp with the 2 force fields should give him ample room to move through this part of the map. Nice lock off there. Really, really good.
That's huge. He can keep that force fielded forever. He's got enough sentries to do so, and I think that their base is going to go down. Yeah, he's got to be careful about that Colossus, though.
Yeah, he needs to get the Colossus back. The Corruptor's doing some damage to it right now. He needs to get those Colossus further back here. One goes down.
He messed up the force fields on the ramp. Some of the units are coming down here. Second Colossus is going to go down. Some more Warpins are coming in here. This is so close.
Mothership Core and the Warp Prism are killed off.
And he's running out of force fields now.
Well, he's still got some Stalkers here, but I think with the angling, there's not much room for micro here.
Yeah, no blink either in this composition, in this build. More units popping out here for the Zerg. He needs to back up and regroup, I think. Those Corruptors now are pretty much useless. He's got 6 of them. And that does factor into his army supply right now, so it's definitely a lot closer than the numbers would say. If you guys look on the top right, but... Again, like you said, trying to micro here on creep without blink. And only Stalkers. It's going to be a bit hard for Deer.
Well, he's continuing to warp in here now. Problem is that he has no sentries, he has no immortals, he has no colossus. There's just nothing he can really do. Base Roach Hydra is stronger than Stalkers, and these Stalkers do not have blink, which makes them even worse as far as their position goes. Queen's coming down now as well, and all he has to do is push him over to where this pylon location is, kill off the pylon, and this rush is done.
A lot of weak Hydras though, and now he's focusing them down, but it's just not enough here for Deer. I think he's going to get that pylon now. And RagnaroK very smartly not even going to push farther than the creep. He knows he's got those 3 bases. He's even got Mutas on the way. I actually like this because it's just another extra thing to bug out the AI on the Stalkers, just 4 of them, to attack with your ground units.
Yeah, and bringing this all together, plus he can actually make even more Mutas if he wants to, and Protoss can't leave his base anymore. I think RagnaroK should just win this. this is looking a bit like the other games we had where RagnaroK was ahead, and I don't see Deer getting the opportunity to do any punishes. Oh, I like this. Yeah, he just sends the mutas into the main. So
He's got to be careful, though. He's flying right over 3 cannons.
Base RagnaroK. Base RagnaroK flying in there, just losing a muta.
He's forcing some warpins back in there. Only 1 Stalker, though. But with some of these lings, look at how many Hydras out here. Even the Queen's getting in the mix, and this is just not enough Stalkers.
That's it, GG. Congratulations, RagnaroK. You have beaten a GSL Code S champion, and you are now moving on to the best StarCraft II tournament, the most important StarCraft II tournament. Sorry, Brendan, I know you cast the other tournament. Now that I'm sitting here saying all this stuff, I didn't mean it like that. But you are going on to that coveted GSL Code S position.
Yeah, shout-outs to RagnaroK for sure. I think I overestimated the momentum that Deer had. This map is definitely very hard for the Protoss to win on against Zerg, but just barely not able to do it. It was looking so close there. Once again, Deer just getting a little bit flustered, I feel. The army control wasn't the best there in that first fight that he had.
Deer
against the ramp.
Understandably salty right now after that loss. It was a great series, but RagnaroK was able to out-adapt Deer. He had a good read on the maps, a good read on his opponent early on. When Deer did begin to recover, he took that advantage that you have if you're going to lead the best of 5. He had more time to figure out a counterplay, a solution, and it worked. Deer now out of GSL.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
It's always sad, it's so exciting to be casting a tournament like this, but the reality is every day, I mean, with all the joy and fun and happiness, there is a lot of sadness there, especially in this case for Deer.
There can only be one winner, especially in this format. It's like one player goes to Code S, one player has to qualify again.
I mean, it does sound corny, but without, you can't have winners without losers. So here's the results for our first best of 5. It's going to be RagnaroK crushing through here and moving on to the GSL Code S. Another Zerg for us.
Yep, another Xanthus player going to join the likes of Hero. And really excited to see this guy in Code S and see what he can actually do in that group stage format. I want to see if he can actually pull it through. I feel like there are some small holes in his play that, maybe players will be able to take away from him in Code S.
It's also interesting because, especially game number 1 strat, I don't know how many times you can do that, especially in GSL Code S. All the players do watch the VODs. We, by the way, do have some events going on here at the GSL Code S, or Code A, and soon to be Code S. Download the app, type in the code medium or riot, which is what you guys like to say since you have to pay in order to get anything on this stream that doesn't look like a Monet painting. So go download that app, try it out. You'll have access to the VODs and everything else. We are going to take a short little break. When we come back, a TVZ here for our next GSL Code A Best of 5.